Good morning, my name is Sabrish Chevendra. I'm a distance graduate student. Today we are going to discuss about the traceability of requirements. In traceability of requirements, we understand the underlying nature of the requirement traceability problem and what are the two different types of requirements traceability, that is the pre-requirement specification traceability and post-requirement specification traceability. And what are the several problems that are being occurred and what are the different solutions in order to improve these requirements traceability problem. So coming up is what is the requirement traceability generally means. Here we can see in the definition is it refers to the ability to describe and follow the life of a requirement in a both forwards and backwards direction. Forwards and backwards direction generally means that if you consider a software from its origin through its development and specifications and to its subsequent deployment and use, and through all these periods of ongoing refinement and iterations in any of these phases. This is what generally forwards and backwards direction mean. And what are the basic techniques that are used for providing requirements traceability? There are several techniques that are being implemented for providing requirement traceability, and some of them are cross-referencing schemes, key phrase dependencies, integration of documents, hypertext, and constraint networks. Generally, these tools majorly differ in quantity and diversity of information they can trace between, and also in the number of interactions they can control between information, and to the extent they can maintain the requirement traceability when faced with the ongoing changes in the requirements. So these are the basic techniques that are being implemented for providing the requirement traceability. The next is the automated support. So these are there are many commercial tools and research products which support the requirement traceability. These tools are generally implemented because they embody the manual or automated forms of the above techniques which we have discussed in the previous slide. So some of these tools are general purpose tools, and some of the examples of the general purpose tools are hypertext editors, spreadsheets, word processors, database systems. And generally general purpose tools deals with how they can be configured to allow the previously manual and paper-based tasks to be carried out online. And the next automated support is special purpose tools, and some of the examples are KJ editor and T-tool. Generally, KJ editor provides the traceability between ideas and requirements, and the T-tool provides traceability between requirements and test cases. So coming up next is the automated support of workbenches. Workbenches generally they are typically based around a database management system which have tools to document, parse, organize, edit, interlink, change and manage these requirements. The next is environment. Environment generally deals with the integration of all aspects of development and has the ability of the and can enable the requirement traceability throughout a project's life cycle. So these are some of the automated support tools that are being implemented. The next is we discuss about why the requirements traceability still remains a challenge. So when the techniques that are being implemented on the requirements traceability are done without thorough understanding or the thorough research of what the problem is exactly. And some of the practitioners have observed this. They came to know that these techniques are not being implemented without knowing what the problem is exactly and how should they be implemented. And despite a growth of specialized tools that are being used is not as widespread as the practice as the importance of the requirements traceability. And some of the other challenges are lack of common definitions. And some of the definitions, because most of the definitions they are based upon some are based upon purpose driven. Purpose driven are like they defined in terms of what it should do, like adhere to the position, project scope, and key requirements. And some of the other definitions are solution driven. Solution driven are generally defined in terms of how it should be done, like the ability to trace from one entity to another entity based on certain semantic rules. And coming up, some of the other definitions are based upon information driven. Information driven is generally deals with the ability to link between functions, data requirements, and any text in the statement of requirements that refer to them. And some of the other definitions are direction driven. Direction driven generally deals with the ability to follow an item at input of a phase of a software lifecycle to a specific item at the output of that phase. So the each and every definition is of its own and they are different. So there isn't any common definition. So these are the several challenges that are being faced. So the next is the types of requirement traceability. There are two types of requirement traceability. One is the pre-requirement specification traceability and the other one is post-requirement specification traceability. Sorry. From the word pre-requirement traceability, we can understand directly is pre is before, like requirements life prior to the inclusion in the requirements production. Generally, pre-requirements traceability deals with is generally depends upon the ability to trace requirements from and back to their originating statements throughout the process of requirements production and refinement. So this is the basically pre-requirements traceability means. And sorry, post-requirement specification traceability is, here we can see the definition is the aspects of requirements life that from its inclusion in the requirements development, from its inclusion into the requirements development. It means that from and back to the baseline through a succession of artifacts in which they are distributed. So basically with these two requirements traceability, types of requirements traceability, the main difference involves with the information they deal with and the problems they can assist. So these are the two different types of requirements traceability. And in this slide we discuss about the advantages of requirements traceability. Generally there are several advantages of the requirements traceability, out of which some are making sure of the project requirements are met at each and every level. We just check what our requirements, whether they are met or not at each and every level. We can able to trace it. Sorry. The next is we can prepare the request proposals, deliver documents, test scripts, and project tasks. We can prepare all these documents. And also we can find the origin of each requirement, track each and every change that has been made, and changes that are being made we can make a track of it and process accordingly. So these are the several changes which several advantages of requirements traceability. Coming up next is the problems that are being faced by the requirements traceability. So in the problems that are being faced when some of the practitioners and some of the research workers have sat together, they found out that most of the problems that are being occurred are by the pre-requirements traceability specifications. So, and these problems are majorly occurred at two stages. One is at the provider's end and the other is at the end users. Some of these problems have been listed over here, and when some of the problems that are being occurred at the provider's end, then they are given a low priority. So this makes the allocation time, staff, and resources to be implemented and used insufficient for the providers. which imbalances the work involved and profits gained. And the other problem is that information can not always be obtained and the quality always varies. It means that some of the driven cultures can discourage gathering certain information, which makes the quality vary. The other problem is there isn't any guarantee of the information that has been documented of the requirements traceability. So this is the other problem. And the next problem is a stereotypical end user cannot be predefined. It means that the, the requirements of each user vary a lot, and most of the time it would be inconsistent. So these are some of the problems that are being faced. So in order to overcome these problems, there are certain solutions by which we can reduce the problems that are being faced currently. So some of these problems are increasing awareness of the information, like what is the problem exactly, what are the different tools to be implemented, how to implement these tools and everything. And the next solution is obtaining and recording the information. So recording all this information makes, if you are in a certain process and you want to know an information, we can go back to that particular information file and just see what has been there and what can be done next. And organizing and maintaining of the information is also really important, because organizing in a structured manner makes the accessibility easier. We can easily access whatever information. If we want this particular information from that particular file, that accessibility would make easier, and we can easily retrieve the information. And also presentation is majorly important here, because the end users gets attracted to the presentation itself. So the providers generally present the products or the software using some of the multimedia techniques or some of the animated tools, some pictures, some of the goods, some of the brands, etc., to which they can attract the end users, and the end users get to know about the product more in detail, what the problem, and he can use these products and he can buy them. So some of these solutions are here listed over here. So these are the solutions of the traceability problems. Here finally the conclusion. Conclusion here in this slide we discuss what all we have discussed till now. Here we have seen some of the multifaceted nature of the requirements traceability, and we have also seen why there isn't much progress. There is only a little progress of the requirements traceability, and how can they be achieved by understanding the whole problem, what is the whole problem exactly, and the whole understanding of these products, how and to improve much. And we have discussed about the two types of requirements traceability, that is the pre-requirements specification traceability and the post-requirement specification traceability. And we have also seen the problems that are being occurred and what are the solutions that are there to improve these requirements traceability, and if at all there are any changes that are being made, and how to track these changes and how they can be progressed in the whole project life cycle. So this is the whole thing about the requirements traceability. So thank you.